A single thread. When pulled, it can unravel an entire tapestry. June 2025 revealed precisely such threads across Indonesia's security landscape. Each incident, each development, a critical component of a larger strategic picture demanding our full attention. Welcome to Indonesia Security Focus. I'm Kaide. This is our analysis for June 2025. This month witnessed some of the most significant transnational security incidents in recent memory. A targeted assassination involving Australian nationals in Bali. It shocked the tourism industry. Aviation security threats persisted, targeting religious pilgrims. We observed the largest labor demonstrations in Jakarta this year. Over 3,000 protesters disrupted key government areas over pension reforms. Our analysis today explores the evolving terrorism landscape. Cyber-enabled threats are emerging. We examine the implications of transnational crime for tourist security. Regional maritime tensions in the South China Sea require assessment. Government responses to both domestic unrest and international cooperation demand scrutiny. Finally, we look ahead. What do these developments mean for Indonesia's security outlook? The operational tempo increases. Let's begin our assessment. June 2025 presented a complex security landscape. It was characterized by the intersection of transnational crime, evolving terrorist tactics, and domestic civil unrest. What makes this month particularly significant? These challenges crossed traditional security boundaries. They required coordinated responses across multiple agencies and international partners. The strategic aperture widened. Three major developments dominated the security environment. First, the emergence of cyber-enabled terrorism tactics. Two sophisticated bomb threats against Saudi Airlines flights carrying Hajj pilgrims provided clear evidence. Extremist groups are adapting to digital attack vectors. They are moving beyond traditional physical threats to disrupt critical aviation infrastructure. Second, the murder of an Australian tourist in Bali by fellow Australian nationals. This marked a troubling escalation in transnational organized crime. This was not a random act of violence. It was a carefully orchestrated assassination involving multiple suspects, weapons procurement, and coordinated escape plans across international borders. Third, economic grievances reached a critical threshold. The largest labor demonstration of the year unfolded. 3,000 workers protested pension cuts and employment reforms in Central Jakarta. This highlighted the potential for economic policy disputes to translate into public order challenges. Regional dynamics remained tense. China conducted joint military patrols in the South China Sea. These directly impacted Indonesia's maritime interests in the Natuna region. Meanwhile, successful counter-terrorism operations resulted in arrests. Suspected militants were captured in West Nusa Tenggara. This demonstrated ongoing extremist network activity despite the dissolution of Jemaah Islamiyah in 2024. The priority concerns emerging from this month center on several factors: the sophistication of both terrorist and criminal networks, the growing intersection of cyber and physical security threats, the need for enhanced international cooperation to address transnational challenges. These developments signal a security environment where traditional boundaries blur. Domestic and international threats increasingly intersect. We begin with terrorism and extremism. June revealed a significant evolution in attack methodologies. On June 17th, Densus 88 investigated an emailed bomb threat against Saudi Airlines flight SV5276. The aircraft carried 442 Hajj pilgrims from Jeddah to Jakarta. It was diverted to Kuala Airport in Medan. Thorough searches revealed no explosives. Just 4 days later, another Saudi Airlines flight received similar treatment. SV5688, with 376 pilgrims, faced a radio-transmitted bomb threat. Again, diversion to the same airport. What demands our attention? The sophisticated nature of these incidents. Investigations suggest both threats originated from a group possibly based in India. This required extensive international coordination between Indonesian, Saudi, and potentially Indian authorities. We observe a new paradigm. Terrorists leverage digital communications to disrupt aviation from thousands of miles away. they target religiously significant travel during the Hajj period. On the ground, Densus 88 arrested Abdul Hamid, a 39-year-old suspected member of Jama Ansharu Syariah Nusra, captured in Bima, West Nusa Tenggara. The operation seized 10 laptops, electronic devices, weapons including bows and arrows, and propaganda materials. This arrest demonstrates a critical reality. Despite JI's dissolution last year, splinter networks continue operating with both digital and conventional capabilities. Moving to crime and public safety. The most shocking incident was the assassination of Australian tourist Zivan Radmanovic in Bali on June 13th. The 32-year-old Melbourne resident was shot and killed at Villa Santis near Mungo Beach. Another Australian, Sanar Ghanem, was beaten during the attack. Indonesian police, working with the Australian Federal Police, arrested 3 Australian nationals suspected of premeditated murder. The sophistication of this crime is remarkable. 2 suspects allegedly arrived on a scooter and opened fire. The third facilitated the operation by purchasing a hammer to break down the villa door, renting vehicles and motorcycles, and buying escape tickets. Police recovered 18 bullet casings from the bathroom where Radmanovic was shot. One of 2 firearms was discarded near a rice field. Bullet residue was found on gloves and balaclavas discovered in the suspect's white van. This represents the first reported targeted shooting involving foreign victims in Bali. It marks a troubling escalation in violent crime on the resort island. One suspect was arrested at Jakarta's Soekarno-Hatta Airport. The other 2 were captured in Singapore and Cambodia with Interpol assistance. This highlights the international nature of both the crime and the investigation. Regarding civil unrest, approximately 3,000 workers and retirees staged a major demonstration in Central Jakarta on June 3rd. Led by PT PO's Indonesia retirees and union affiliates, protesters targeted specific grievances: the elimination of retirees' allowances, the Chematron partnership model, outsourcing practices, the new BPJS Crease healthcare system. Key locations affected included areas near the Ministry of State-Owned Enterprises, the State Palace, and the DPR complex. Authorities advised motorists to avoid these corridors from morning until evening due to road closures and heavy congestion. While no significant violent clashes occurred, the protest highlighted widespread labor discontent. This could fuel further organized demonstrations if grievances remain unaddressed. Regarding digital security, no major cyberattacks or data breaches targeting government or critical infrastructure were publicly reported. This suggests a relatively stable digital environment. However, the aviation bomb threats demonstrate how digital channels are being weaponized for terrorism. The board is never static. Regional dynamics significantly influenced Indonesia's security environment this month. Developments in the South China Sea took center stage. On June 15th, China's Southern Theater Command conducted coordinated sea and air patrols in the South China Sea. They cited security risks from Philippine-U.S. joint exercises. These actions directly impact Indonesia's maritime interests, particularly in the Natuna region, where overlapping territorial claims create ongoing tensions. This maritime assertiveness occurs against the backdrop of Indonesia's active diplomatic engagement in regional security forums. At the IISS Shangri-La Dialogue from May 31st to June 1st, Deputy Defense Minister Dani Ermawan Taufanto emphasized cross-regional security linkages. Indonesia's role in fostering an inclusive Indo-Pacific security architecture received attention. This positioning reflects Indonesia's strategy of maintaining strategic autonomy while advocating for multilateral solutions to regional disputes. The Indonesia-Australia relationship received significant attention through both security cooperation and the challenge of transnational crime. The second political-military senior officials meeting on June 3rd advanced several initiatives: the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Plan of Action, implementation of the Defense Cooperation Agreement, joint approaches to human trafficking and cybersecurity. This cooperation proved crucial when the Bali murder case required extensive bilateral law enforcement coordination. Exercise Griffin Cacti, conducted from June 2nd to 4th off Batam, enhanced counter-terrorism cooperation between Indonesian and Singapore armed forces. This bilateral exercise involved 160 personnel and focused on maritime security operations. It demonstrated the practical application of ASEAN defense cooperation frameworks. Cross-border criminal challenges extended beyond the high-profile Bali case. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reported 153 Indonesians implicated in drug-related offenses abroad as of June 2025. This underscores vulnerabilities to international narcotics networks. The statistic reflects the persistent challenge of Indonesian nationals being recruited by transnational criminal organizations operating across Southeast Asia. Maritime security enforcement showed positive results. The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries Operations from January to May 2025 achieved significant outcomes. 32 illegal, unreported, and unregulated vessels were seized, including 9 foreign-flagged ships. These operations prevented an estimated 774.3 billion rupiah in state losses and disrupted transnational fishing syndicates. This demonstrates effective enforcement in contested waters. The terrorism threats against Saudi Airlines flights highlight how regional extremist networks adapt. They operate across borders using digital platforms. The suspected Indian origin of these threats suggests terrorist groups are becoming more geographically dispersed while maintaining operational coordination. These regional developments underscore several critical themes: the increasing sophistication of transnational criminal and terrorist networks, the importance of bilateral cooperation in addressing cross-border security challenges, the growing intersection of maritime territorial disputes with practical security concerns. Indonesia's response has emphasized multilateral engagement while maintaining robust bilateral partnerships, particularly with Australia and Singapore, to address shared security challenges. Every response is a choice. We examine not just the action taken, but the strategic intent behind it. The Indonesian government's response to June's security challenges demonstrated both institutional adaptation and the importance of international cooperation. Densus 88's handling of the aviation bomb threats showcased Indonesia's counterterrorism capabilities. They conducted thorough investigations while coordinating with Saudi and potentially Indian authorities to trace the digital threats to their source. The response to the Bali murder case highlighted effective bilateral law enforcement cooperation. Indonesian National Police worked seamlessly with the Australian Federal Police and Interpol to track down suspects across multiple countries. The successful arrests in Jakarta, Singapore, and Cambodia within days of the incident demonstrate the maturity of Indonesia's international law enforcement partnerships. BNPT continued its balanced approach to counterterrorism. They combined hard enforcement with soft de-radicalization initiatives. Early in June, the agency conducted community outreach in Polewali Mandar, West Sulawesi. They trained community policing officers to identify early signs of radicalization. On June 12th, BNPT conducted a security pre-audit for the Jakarta IPRI Formula E-Race. They collaborated with organizers to ensure robust safety protocols for this international sporting event. Institutional development was evident in Polri's major personnel reshuffle on June 23rd. 702 officers were rotated, including 534 promotions to enhance leadership and operational readiness across regional units. This systematic approach to human resource management reflects ongoing efforts to strengthen organizational capabilities. Maritime enforcement showed continued commitment to protecting Indonesia's territorial waters. The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries extended illegal fishing surveillance into Natuna waters. Preparations for the sail to Natuna yacht rally from June 15th to 17th demonstrated Indonesia's border management capabilities in contested areas. The government's handling of the labor demonstration on June 3rd showed restraint and professionalism. Authorities managed traffic disruptions and maintained public order without significant incidents. This approach balanced respect for democratic rights with the need to maintain public safety and government operations. These responses demonstrate institutional resilience and the importance of interagency coordination in addressing complex security challenges that span multiple domains. Our deep dive this month unpacks a critical development. The murder of Australian tourist Zivan Radmanovic represents a significant shift in Indonesia's security landscape. This incident, involving Australian nationals targeting a fellow Australian in Bali, highlights the intersection of international organized crime with Indonesia's domestic security environment. It is a complex human terrain demanding deeper analysis. The sophistication of this operation suggests professional criminal networks operating across borders. Consider the coordination required: weapons procurement in a heavily regulated environment, surveillance of the target, coordinated execution by multiple suspects, pre-planned escape routes across international borders. This indicates a carefully orchestrated assassination, not a crime of opportunity. This case underscores critical vulnerabilities in tourist security, particularly significant given that Australians comprise approximately 25% of Bali's international visitors. The successful investigation demonstrated effective international law enforcement cooperation, but it also revealed the complex challenges of monitoring and preventing transnational criminal activities in tourist destinations. The implications extend beyond this single case. Criminal networks that can operate with this level of sophistication in Indonesia's premier tourist destination represent a threat to the country's tourism industry. This is a crucial economic sector. The incident may necessitate enhanced security protocols for high-risk tourist areas and improved intelligence sharing on known criminal elements traveling between Australia and Indonesia. The investigation's success resulted in arrests across 3 countries within days. This showcases the effectiveness of Indonesian-Australian law enforcement cooperation under their comprehensive strategic partnership. However, it also highlights the need for continued vigilance and potentially enhanced screening procedures for travelers from countries with significant criminal organization presence. This case signals a potential evolution in transnational crime affecting Indonesia. Criminal networks may increasingly view tourist destinations as operational theaters for settling international disputes. This requires new approaches to tourist security and international cooperation. We look for the echoes of tomorrow in the patterns of today. Several critical patterns emerge from June's developments that will shape Indonesia's security landscape in the coming months. The evolution towards cyber-enabled terrorism, demonstrated by the aviation bomb threats, suggests extremist groups are adapting to digital attack vectors. These can disrupt physical infrastructure from remote locations. This hybrid threat model requires enhanced cybersecurity measures integrated with traditional physical security protocols. The sophistication of transnational criminal networks, as evidenced by the Bali murder case, indicates a need for more robust international intelligence sharing. Potentially enhanced security measures in tourist areas will follow. We should expect continued cooperation between Indonesian and Australian authorities as they work to dismantle any remaining network connections. Economic grievances driving the labor demonstration could resurface if pension and employment reforms remain unaddressed. The scale of the June 3rd protest suggests organized labor capacity for larger demonstrations. This potentially creates opportunities for exploitation by extremist groups seeking to agitate social tensions. Maritime security in the Natuna region will likely see increased attention as South China Sea tensions persist. Indonesia's enforcement operations against illegal fishing may intensify as the country seeks to demonstrate sovereignty over disputed waters. Key indicators to monitor include several factors: digital communications intelligence related to extremist networks, progress on labor policy reforms and their public reception, outcomes of upcoming ASEAN defense dialogues, maritime enforcement metrics in contested waters, the effectiveness of enhanced tourist security measures. The strategic implication is clear. Indonesia's security challenges increasingly require integrated approaches that address both cyber and physical domains while maintaining strong international partnerships. Let me synthesize the key takeaways from June 2025 security developments. First, terrorist tactics evolve toward cyber-enabled methods. These can disrupt critical infrastructure from remote locations, requiring new integrated security approaches. Second, transnational criminal networks operate with unprecedented sophistication in tourist areas. This necessitates enhanced international cooperation and potentially new security protocols. Finally, economic grievances have the potential to fuel larger social movements. These could intersect with security concerns if not properly addressed. These developments underscore Indonesia's position at the intersection of regional security challenges, from South China Sea tensions to transnational crime networks. The government's response has shown institutional resilience and the value of international partnerships, particularly with Australia and regional neighbors. What silent movements should we be watching? The complexities we've analyzed today will undoubtedly continue evolving as Indonesia navigates these multifaceted challenges. Indonesia continues its careful navigation. Its security remains a testament to strategic resolve. Thank you for joining Indonesia Security Focus. We'll return next month with further analysis of the evolving security landscape. Until then, stay informed and stay secure. Kaide out.